First, I would like to say my gratitude to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala and then Nabi Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to bring the light into the world. My big respect also for my supervisor, Mr. Budi Suharto, and then for my examiner, Bapak Yudo and Ibu Rima. Thank you for attending this wonderful presentation. Okay, and also for the audience, thank you for the support. And to begin with, I would like to tell you the story behind the title. So the title is Asymmetric and Symmetric Response of the Environmental Performance on Tourism Industry, case study of DA countries. So we have 5 stages here, introduction until the conclusions. Okay, first is the introduction. So as we know that in the world is tourism is very important, and also we can see here from the WTTC or World Travel and Tourism Council, they collect data and they show that in 2024 there is 10% of all GDP in the world is come from the tourism itself. And then we can see here the graph showing how important the tourism is, and you can see there is a shock in 2019 when the COVID arrived, and then it will, how to say that, it will reduce a huge amount of money coming into the country because of the crisis. And then we can see here also how much the country in 2024 from tourism contribute its GDP. You can see here, even though Bangladesh is very small, 2.3, and then the highest will be Turkey with 12.4% of its GDP. It is a huge amount of money into the country. And then we can see here, despite all these huge impact of the tourism industry into the country, we can see there is one of phenomenon. You can see that this is a visible green behavior. So some people, they tend to tend to come to the country to show themselves they care about the environmentals. That's what we call visible green behavior. And then we assume also that consumers are more aware, because there is a research that shows that consumer is more aware of the sustainability. So instead of buying a fossil car, they rather than using the battery car or something. And then also there's another research that shows some tourists, they prefer to come to the country that worse environmental performance. For example, like the Canadians, they prefer to come to Indonesia, for example, even though the Canadian environmental performance is very high, but the tourists is prefer to come to Indonesia, for example. And this phenomenon both supporting and then also rejecting this phenomenon, and this will impact the tourism industry. And that's why we come up with 3 research questions. First, we would like to see in the short run and the long run the symmetric impact of the environmental performance on tourism industry in the country. And then the second one is we would like to see also what is the short run and then the long run asymmetric impact of the environmental performance on tourism industry in the country. And then we would like to show how actually effective the government policy is. And then we can see here the asymmetric and symmetric. This is 2 different terms. First, this is symmetric. The symmetric means that it's the same effect. So when, for example, in tourism, when 1% of increasing in some point, it will, for example, will increasing 10%. But also will be reduced in 10%. So that's why we need asymmetric impact to show the difference exactly the impact. For example, if it